You know, people have this funny little habit treating the good ones like they'll stick around forever. Like their kindness isn't running on borrowed time. They'll drain you, chew you up, and then, poof, throw you out like yesterday's trash. Why? Because they can. They think you'll always be there to pick up their mess, to patch the holes in their sinking ship. But here's the kicker. They don't realize what they've lost until the ship's at the bottom of the ocean. And by then, it's too late. You gave them everything, didn't you? Your time, your trust, your damn soul. You bent over backward, cut yourself open, just so they could drink from your veins. And what did they do? Oh, they spit it all back in your face. That's the funny thing about people. They'll cry about being thirsty, but they'll pour the water you give them right into the dirt because they don't see you. They don't see the cracks you've patched together with sweat and tears. All they see is what they can take. Let me tell you something, kid. The world doesn't reward the good ones. It rewards the cunning, the ruthless, the ones who take without asking and leave nothing behind you. You're out here playing savior in a world that doesn't even know it's drowning. And when you finally walk away, when you finally get tired of holding up their crumbling walls, they'll call you the villain. Isn't that rich, you the villain? But here's the truth. They'll never tell you their ignorance cost them everything. Not just your time, not just your trust. They lost the one person who would have stood by them through hell itself. And you're the fire they'll never find. Again, the warmth they'll miss and the cold sets in. You're the reason their house didn't collapse. And now they'll choke on the ashes of what they burned. You think I'm exaggerating? Let me give you a little example. Let's say a man has a diamond, a rare, flawless, priceless gem. But this man's a fool. He leaves it out in the rain, scratches it up, forgets it's even there. One day, someone else comes along, sees the diamond and takes it. And when that man finally realizes what he had, he's left with nothing but regret. Now, who's to blame, the thief or the idiot who didn't know the value of what he had? That's them, the people who let you go. They'll spend the rest of their miserable little lives searching for a spark that's long gone. They'll sit in the dark wondering why the light left. But you don't owe them a damn thing. You gave them more chances than they deserved. You bled for them. And now it's time to let them drown in the mess they made. People like you're rare and rare things. They're dangerous because the world doesn't know how to handle them. They try to break you, to mold you into something they can understand. End. The moment you stop playing their game, that's the moment they lose. They'll sit there clawing at their empty chests, wondering why their hearts feel like stone. And you'll be long gone, untouchable, a ghost they'll never catch. So here's what you do. You walk away. You let them rot in the bed they made because you're not their savior anymore. You're the storm they didn't see coming. And when the dust settles, when they're left with nothing but regrets and shattered memories, they'll finally understand. They'll understand that their ignorance wasn't just a mistake. It was their downfall. Let them choke on their pride. Let them drown in their arrogance. And you keep moving. Because the best revenge is to thrive in the face of their absence, to become everything they swore you couldn't be, to rise so high I can't even see you anymore. That's how you win. Remember this, kid. They lost you and you. You lost nothing worth keeping. So go. Be the storm, be the fire, be the diamond they'll never hold again. You want to know the cruelest part about all this? It's not that they didn't see your value, it's that they chose not to. Oh yeah, don't kid yourself. They knew they saw the effort, the sacrifices, the loyalty. They saw the way you carried their weight, even when your own knees were buckling. They knew you were different, but they ignored it. Why? Because they thought you'd never leave. They thought you'd stick around no matter how much they took, no matter how much they broke you. And now, they sit there, clutching at the air, wishing they could grab onto the pieces of you they shattered. But you're not there anymore. Are you? No. You're gone. And that emptiness, that void, they feel. That's you. That's what happens when you take something irreplaceable for granted. You leave and suddenly their whole world doesn't make sense. Suddenly they're forced to face the mess they made, and it terrifies them. People like them, they don't know how to handle loss. They think they're untouchable, that life owes them a constant supply of forgiveness and second chances. But you're not infinite. You're not some endless well. They can keep draining. And when they realize that it's like the ground disappears beneath their feet, you become the ghost that haunts their every thought. The whisper in the back of their mind reminding them of what they'll never have again. You know what the real tragedy is? They'll tell themselves it was your fault. Oh yeah, they'll rewrite the story, paint you as the villain. They'll say you were too sensitive, too demanding, too much, because that's easier than admitting they were the problem. That's easy. Easier than facing the mirror and seeing the cracks in their own reflection. But deep down, they know the truth. And that truth, it'll eat them alive. Here's the thing about people. They hate the idea of accountability. They hate admitting they screwed up. So instead, they project, they blame, they lash out. But you don't let that get to, because their words, their accusations, they're just the desperate screams of someone who knows they've lost. And you, my friend, you've already won. They'll remember you in the quiet moments, when the world slows down and they're left alone with their thoughts. That's when you'll creep in. That's when your absence will hit them like a freight train. They'll wonder why the laughter isn't as loud, why the colors seem duller, why nothing feels as real as it did when you were around. And they'll realize it's because you were the light in their darkness. You were the spark that kept their fire burning. And now they're sitting in the ashes. But don't you dare go back. Don't you dare look over your shoulder and give them another chance to ruin you. They had their shot. They blew it. And now they get to live with the consequences. Because life doesn't hand out endless lifelines. And you're not their safety net anymore. You see people like them. They're like children playing with fire. They don't realize the danger until they're standing in the middle of the flames, and by then it's too late. The damage is done. But you're not the one who got burned. No, you're the fire. And now you get to decide who gets to feel your warmth and who gets left out in the cold. Because, make no mistake, they'll come crawling back. Oh, they'll beg. They'll cry. They'll swear. They've changed, but it's all an act. It's desperation. Plain and simple. They're not sorry for what they did. They're sorry for what they lost, and you're not a prize to be won back. You're not a second chance they didn't earn. You're the lesson they needed but didn't want. And now they get to live with the knowledge that they'll never find anyone like you again. You don't owe them your forgiveness. You don't owe them your time, your energy, your anything. What you owe is to yourself to heal, to rise, to become so untouchable, so unstoppable that their absence doesn't even register as a loss. You owe it to yourself to be the person they couldn't appreciate, to prove to yourself, not to them, that their ignorance didn't break you. It made you. Because at the end of the day, their ignorance didn't cost you anything. It cost them everything. And you're just getting started. You know what I love about people, their selective memories. They'll forget the nights you stayed up fixing their broken pieces, but they'll remember the one time you couldn't hold it together. They'll forget the times you picked them up off the ground, but they'll cling to the one moment you fell. It's laughable, really. They build their narratives around your mistakes because it's easier than acknowledging their own failures. It's easier than admitting they were the ones who pushed you to the edge in the first place. But here's where it gets interesting. You walking away, that wasn't just an act of defiance. No. It was their reckoning. It was the moment their perfect little delusions came crashing down because suddenly they couldn't blame you anymore. Suddenly they had to sit with the silence, with the emptiness, with themselves. And let me tell you, kid, there's nothing more terrifying to a person like that than being alone with their own reflection. They'll try to fill the void, of course. Oh, they'll look for you and everyone else. They'll search for the same warmth, the same loyalty, the same fire. But all they'll find are pale imitations, cheap knockoffs that crumble under pressure. And every time they come up short, every time they're reminded of what they lost, it'll sting a little more. Because deep down, they'll know they threw away the real thing for nothing. And you'll be out there thriving. You'll be building something new, something they can't touch, can't tear apart, and that'll drive them insane. Because while they're stuck in the past, you'll be moving forward. While they're drowning in regret, you'll be breathing in the fresh air of freedom. And the best part, they'll have no one to blame but themselves. You know, they say time heals all wounds, but that's a lie. Time doesn't heal. Time just exposes the truth. And the truth is, their wounds they'll never heal. Not because of you, but because of them. Because they'll never admit they were wrong. They'll never face the fact that they had something extraordinary, and they let it slip through their fingers. And that kind of regret, that kind of pain, it lingers, It festers. It eats away at the soul. Want to know the real reason they treated you the way they did? It wasn't because you weren't enough. No, it was because you were too much. Too much for their small minds to comprehend. Too much for their fragile egos to handle. You see people like that. They hate what they can't control. They hate what they can't fully understand. And you're a wildfire in a world full of matches. They tried to contain you, to diminish you, because they knew they couldn't handle your full blaze. But here's the beautiful thing about wildfires. They don't die. They spread. They grow. They consume everything in their path until there's nothing left but ash and you. You're just getting started. You've barely scratched the surface of what you're capable of. And the more they try to erase you, the more your flame will burn in their memories. They'll hear your name in a conversation and freeze. They'll see someone who reminds them of you and feel that pang of regret all over again. They'll lie awake at night replaying every moment, every word, every chance they had to do right by you. And every time they realize they can't go back, that they can't fix what they broke, it'll tear them apart a little more. But you're free. Free from their games, their manipulation, their endless cycle of take. You're free to become everything they were too blind to see. And that's the ultimate revenge. Not to hurt them, not to stoop to their level, but to rise so far above them that their absence doesn't even leave a shadow. So what are you waiting for? Are you going to sit here dwelling on their ignorance? Or are you going to get up and show them what they lost? Are you going to let their mistakes define you? Or are you going to become the person they'll spend the rest of their lives regretting the choice is yours, kid? But if I were you, I'd make it hurt. Remember this. Their ignorance wasn't just a mistake. It was their downfall. And you're the storm they'll never outrun. You know, the funny thing about regret, it's a sneaky little bastard. It doesn't hit all at once. Oh no, it comes in waves. First, it's a whisper, a faint thought in the back of their mind. Did I mess up? They'll think. Was it really worth it? And then, as time goes on, that whisper gets louder. It turns into a scream, and before they know it, they're drowning in it. Drowning in all the what-ifs, the could-have-beens, the should-have-been. It eats at them slowly, but surely, like a parasite. And the best part, there's no escape from it. Regret isn't something you can drink away, sleep away, or run away from. It stays with you. It follows you. It's the shadow that looms over every decision they make, every path they take. And you'll be the source of it. You'll be the one they think about when they're alone, when the distractions fade and reality comes crashing down. But don't you worry about them. Oh no. Let them rot in their regret. Let them feel the weight of what they lost, because you've got better things to do. You've got a life to build, a world to conquer. And the best revenge, the only revenge, it's not to hurt them. It's to thrive without them, to become so untouchable, so unstoppable, that they can't even imagine reaching your level. They'll see you out there shining brighter than they ever thought possible, and it'll kill them. They'll hear about your successes, your triumphs, and every time they do, it'll feel like a dagger to the heart, because deep down, they'll know they had a chance. They had you and they blew it. They'll try to convince themselves that they're better off, that you weren't as important as they thought. But we both know the truth, don't we? We both know that you were the best thing that ever happened to them. And now they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to replace what can't be replaced. Let me tell you something about people: they don't value what's easy. They don't appreciate what's given freely. No, they crave the things they can't have. They chase the things that are out of reach. And you're out of reach now. You're the one thing they'll never be able to get back, no matter how hard they try. And that's what will haunt them the most. They'll pretend they don't care. They'll put on a brave face, act like they're better off without you. But behind closed doors, when the lights are off and the world is quiet, that's when the truth comes out. That's when they'll feel the emptiness, the void that you used to fill, and they'll hate themselves for it. They'll hate themselves for being so blind, so foolish, so ignorant. But you don't need their apologies. You don't need their validation, because you're above all that you've already won. You've already proven that their ignorance didn't break you. It made you stronger. It made you sharper. It turned you into the person you were always meant to be. And them, they're just a footnote in your story, a cautionary tale, a reminder of what happens when you take the wrong person for granted. You see people like them. They'll never understand what they lost. Not fully. Not until it's too late. And by then, you'll be so far ahead, so far out of their league, that they won't even dare to reach for you again. They'll just watch from the sidelines, their hearts heavy with regret, their minds consumed by memories of what could have been. So, go. Go and live your life. Go and be the person they never believed you could be. Go and make them regret every second they spent doubting you. Every moment they took you for granted because you're a force of nature. You're the storm they'll never recover from. You're the wildfire that'll burn in their minds forever. And when they look back, when they replay every memory, every mistake, they'll come to one inescapable conclusion. Their ignorance wasn't just a mistake. It was the greatest tragedy of their lives. And you'll be the ghost that haunts them until their dying day. But you're wondering, aren't you? Wondering why they couldn't just treat you right, why they couldn't see the gold they were holding. It's funny, really. People always crave what they don't have, but the moment they get it, they act like it's worthless. They don't understand the effort it took to shine to become what you are. They don't see the battles you fought inside, the scars you covered with that smile. No, all they see is what you give, and giving. Giving makes you disposable. You want an answer to that. Why? Here it is, plain and simple. People are selfish. They'll take and take and take until there's nothing left of you, and then they'll complain that you're empty. They don't know what it's like to give without expecting something in return. They don't know what it's like to bleed for someone else. And you bled dry. You poured yourself into them, hoping they'd see it, hoping they'd care. But they didn't, because they thought you'd never run out. And now that you're gone, now that you've walked away, they're starting to realize, aren't they? Oh, they won't admit it. Not yet. Their pride won't let them, but give it time. Give it a week, a month, a year, and one day they'll wake up and it'll hit them like a truck. I had something special, something real, and I threw it away. And by then, you'll be so far ahead, they won't even be a memory worth keeping. They'll try to replace you. Of course, that's what people like them do. They'll jump from one person to the next, hoping to fill the void, hoping to find another you. But they won't, because there is no another you. There's only you. And every time they fail, and they will fail, it'll chip away at them. It'll remind them of what they lost, of what they destroyed. Here's the beauty of it. Regret doesn't just hurt. It changes people. It twists them, bends them, breaks them in ways they didn't think possible. And for them, regret will become a prison. A cage they built with their own hands. Sit in that cage, staring at the bars. And the funny thing, the key was always in their hands, but they were too blind, too proud, too stupid to use it. But you're free now, free from their games, their lies, their endless cycle of taking and breaking. And that freedom is priceless. It's the one thing they can't steal from you, the one thing they'll never have again. So use it. Use it to build something they'll never be a part of. Use it to become someone they can't touch, can't hurt, can't even understand. You owe it to yourself to rise above them, to take everything they tried to destroy and turn it into something unbreakable, to take every insult, every betrayal, every scar they left behind and forge it into armor. Because the truth is, they didn't break you. They gave you the tools to become indestructible. They'll watch you from the sidelines, their hands pressed against the glass, and they'll hate themselves for it. They'll hate themselves for letting you go, for not seeing your worth until it was too late. And every time they think of you, and trust me, they'll think of you, it'll hurt. Oh, it'll hurt like hell. You see, people like them don't learn from kindness. They don't learn from love. No, they learn from loss. They learn from the pain of knowing they'll never get another chance. And you're the lesson they'll never forget. You gave them everything, and they gave you nothing. But now the tables have turned. Now you get to take back your power. And the best part, they can't stop you. They can't touch you. They can only watch as you rise higher and higher, leaving them in the dust, choking on their own regret. So, go. Go and be the storm they never saw coming. Go and be the fire that burns in their memories. Go and be the person they'll spend the rest of their lives wishing they hadn't lost, because at the end of the day, their ignorance wasn't just a mistake. It was their downfall. And You're the proof that they were wrong. Their ignorance cost them everything they had with you, and you're just getting started. But let's not stop there. No. See, there's something you've got to understand. Something deep. Something raw. Their ignorance wasn't an accident. Oh no. It was a choice. A conscious, deliberate choice. They chose to look past you, to overlook the very best parts of you. Why? Because it was easier to pretend you were ordinary, easier to pretend that someone like you could just be replaced. You know, like a piece of furniture, like a disposable lighter. They didn't want to admit that you were the flame, the only light in their dim little world. They couldn't handle the truth. And you know what makes it even better? They thought you'd never figure it out. They thought they could keep keep leeching off your energy, your kindness, your loyalty, and you just keep coming back for more, like a damn dog chasing a stick. Pathetic, right? That's how they saw you. That's how little they thought of you. But now you've shown them who you really are. And oh, they can't stand it. They're sitting there right now, stewing in their own stupidity, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. And the best part, they'll never get it. They'll never understand. Because understanding means they'd have to admit they were wrong. It means they'd have to face the fact that their selfishness, their arrogance, their ignorance is what drove you away, and that's a pill they just can't swallow. Do you know what happens when someone loses the best thing they've ever had? At first, they deny it. Oh, I'm fine. They'll say, I don't need them. They'll puff out their chests, put on a brave face, and pretend like nothing's changed. But deep down, oh deep down, they're breaking, cracking, shattering into a million little pieces. And as the days turn into weeks, as the silence grows louder, as the void gets deeper, reality starts to sink in. And that's when the regret sets in. That's when they start replaying every moment, every conversation, every chance they had to do right by you. They'll think about the times they ignored your calls, the times they dismissed your feelings, the times they made you feel small. And it'll hit them like a freight train. Because for the first time they'll realize you were the one thing in their life that was real. And now, it's gone. Oh, but don't feel sorry for them. Don't you dare. They deserve every ounce of that pain, every sleepless night, every tear they shed, because they had a choice. They had you, and they chose to throw it all away. So let them suffer. Let them choke on their regret. Because you don't owe them a damn thing. You want to know the real kicker? They're going to try to come back. Oh yes, the crawl back, begging, pleading, swearing. They've changed. They'll tell you they're sorry that they didn't know what they had, that they'll do better this time. But you and I both know the truth, don't we? People like them don't change. They don't learn. They just find new ways to take, new ways to break, new ways to leave you empty. So when they come knocking, when they try to slither back into your life, you slam that door shut. You lock it. You burn it down if you have to. Because you've already given them more chances than they deserved. And now it's time to put yourself first. You've spent so much time trying to be everything forever, everything for everyone else, trying to fix them, to save them, to make them see your worth. But you know what? It's not your job to fix people who are hell-bent on staying broken. It's not your job to save people who don't want to be saved, and it sure as hell isn't your job to make people see your value. Your value isn't up for debate. It isn't something they get to decide. It's something you own, and once you own it, once you embrace it, there's not a damn thing they can do to take it away from you. So go and build something they'll never be a part of. Go and create a life so full, so vibrant, so untouchable that their absence doesn't even leave a shadow. Go and show the world what they were too blind to see. And when you do, when you rise higher than you ever thought possible, you won't even need to look back, because their regret, their pain, that'll be enough.